Hey, Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who deserve double honors. Salutations go out also to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, all honest and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining, hopefully, like this is Naaman with the DC camp. And look what these politicians that you elected, because I know I didn't vote for these motherfuckers, that you elected. I'm talking about you Jakes, you Israelites out there, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Yeah. Look what you did. For those that did vote, look what you did. These idiots. Senate rejects religious, this is from NTD. Senate rejects religious freedom protections. Approves Respect for Marriage Act. Why is it called Respect for Marriage Act? Because this is for the LGBTQ people. Yeah. Yep. Biden to sign. Yeah. They keep getting more and more rights. The irony behind this is you stupid ass Jakes. Once again, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, so-called. Call you Jakes, as in sons of Jacob. You're so easily manipulated. You keep falling for bullshit like this. For those of you that are aware of what's going on, you have to isolate yourselves from the idiots, the ones that have eaten up and swallowed down the propaganda of America, and they don't know nothing else. They're part of that 2/3, and that 2/3 has to go. Now, for those of you that are beginning to see, this is why they got to go. All right, going into that remnant, if I am so lucky. All right, because it's not over yet. Actually, the hard part is just starting. Because this devil is, all right, trying to set up his new world order. All right, and the motto for the new world order is no mercy. And you think he don't mean that? You don't know this so-called white man like you thought. A lot of our people believe that so-called civil rights era bullshit. He was just biding his time, perfecting what he wanted to do in the meantime. All right, technology was not to where he needed it to be. It is now. So that's why you're seeing things speeding up. In just a couple of weeks now, that executive order 14067 having to do with digital currency is going to go into effect. So this will be the beginnings of them. You already see it in some stores. I'm sure you probably realize that now. But they're eliminating the cash. Everything, well, you have either credit or debit card. This is that gradualism. Ever since, I remember from my time on this earth, that's exactly what it was. At one point, everything was just, strictly cash. Cash was king. Then they started the credit cards. All right. Then the debit cards. Well, actually the checks. And then got into the cards. All right. In fact, now that I said that, I can't remember the last time I've seen somebody write a check. I think that's completely obsolete. Maybe not completely, but you'll know those people because you'll get plenty of death stares directed at them if you're ever in line behind them. All right. Uh, yeah. So this is how this devil works, gradualism, and it's happened with our people because our people are just dumbed down. I put it that way. All right. That's happened to everybody, but specifically with Jake because that was how it was meant to be. We were the target all along. All right. Substandard education, housing, food. All right. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. All right. And plus, we're under the curses. Everybody else isn't. All right. That's the big thing there. Anyway, it says you got a bipartisan majority, of course. And you know everything's still, they're pushing this through before everything changes over in January. On a count of 61, this is in the Senate, on a count of 61 to 36, which included 49 Democrats. Get a load of that. That's all the motherfuckers. Yeah, you people that own that Democrat plantation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And 12 Republicans adopted a measure approved by the House of Representatives in July and that President Joe Biden has promised to sign. The House still must okay the Senate's minor revisions of the original proposal. So they'd already voted in July, but they got to vote on the tweaks. All right? Don't know how that's going to go. But anyway, let's skip down. It gives you a roll call of, the Republican senators, senators, anyway, so skipping on down through this, which really isn't important, just the fact that they did it, and we're going to get into why, because the spirit that's cast over this land. You got to remember Isaiah 19:14, the Most High, all right, put a perverse spirit in this place. Let's get that real quick. Let's see. This is Isaiah 19:14. The Most High Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Why? Because the people that run this world are of the nation of Edom. They are the wicked. Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Who the wicked? Malachi chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. That's the nation of Edom. People who refer to themselves as white. All right, in the last 300 plus years, been calling themselves that. Which they're not, and we're not black. They play that little game that they're so holy and we're supposed to be so evil and twisted. That's what they're actually saying. All right. They're not white. They never were. And we're not black. All right. But our people are in that, want to claim that for some reason, not realizing still to this day how wow, Jake, just gone. Just gone. Anyway, so back to the article. The mind games people play, and these devils, they just had their way with Jake. Because Jake is all caught up in the world. He's got him. What was the expression they used to keep you running from pillar to post? And Jake's so busy trying to make money, because hey, they made money their God, basically, to pay bills, not realizing that that very act, all right, is telling you that, hey, you're not free. You do all this shit just to try to keep your head above water. And it tells you, I don't have the I don't have access to. Wait a minute, maybe I do. Hold on. Oh. No, I don't. Dang, it's right over there. But in a book I have by Dr. Claude Anderson, it goes into black history, slavery and dirty little secrets. And it tells you all we've been doing is treading water since the end of the Civil War. Because we were not allowed to create generational wealth. Why? The elites know who we were. Every time we did accomplish something and, building towns, settlements, that sort of thing, what did they do? They destroyed them. For the most part, for real petty ass reasons. We had several, I'm just going to say it like that, several. You've got Bronzeville, Chicago area there. You had, these are the most famous ones. You had Rosewood down in Florida. You had, of course, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District, so-called Black Wall Street. Then you had North Carolina. What was that? I can't, oh man. It's like is it that Port City? Oh, I can't think of it. Maybe it'll come back to me. But yeah, they just outright threw Jake out of, a whole insurrection down there to get Jake out. This is what, even down in Arkansas, it's plenty of places, but these places, these things are not taught in history. Even Tom Hanks said that. He said, well, I haven't heard this. I forget what specifically he was talking about. It may have had to do with also there were townships that we had that were, again, raided and razed. And now they're at the bottom of lakes where these murdering ass so-called white people just go tubing with little Johnny, in their expensive boats and everything like that. And you literally got cemeteries right underneath them. Yeah. They tell you what they think of you. And you want to march up and down the street, Black Lives Matter, and not realize that you're being used to further an agenda like this LGBTQ shit. And look, they end up getting more rights than you. And it's like, I always say this, well, not always, but I say it mostly to myself. I'm like, my goodness, if I was, just to use an example now, if I were to come from outer space somewhere and I came here and I looked around and saw the way things are going, and I noticed these people that constantly getting fucked over. Damn, man. But then it dawns on me that you keep falling for the same old shit. You give them, and I understand that we understand that a lot of our people don't, but we understand we're under the curses. But me not understanding this, I'm just coming down here and I'm looking around. I'm looking at you. I'm like, damn. They keep playing the same old game over and over and over and over. Anyway, enough ranting. All right, but this, look at this. Again, fell for it again. The Respect for Marriage Act. Meanwhile, they got you and all what? A lot of you are shackled with child support. And we know that's a scheme. The good thing about all this, all these traps and snares they set for us, is now falling on their asses. So hey, that's all good. Now, Remember I was talking about that perverse spirit? Let's look at these videos and run these videos, and let me do this because I should have did it from the outset. This is the hell? How did that happen? Oh man, what the hell did I just do? Alright, let's see if I can find it again. Alright, let's see. Here it is. This is copyright disclaimer, Section 107 of the Copyright Act. All right. It says, states that copyrighted materials can be fairly used for the following purposes: criticism, comment, which I'm doing, reporting, teaching, which I'm trying to do, research and scholarship. Okay, also. All right, that's it. I'm not trying to hijack any, what do they call it, intellectual properties or anything like that. I'm just going to be making some comments. All right. So, here we go. This is from Sid Roth, It's Supernatural. And it's that spirit, that perverse spirit. All right. And it's actually, you got to understand these Edomites, when you go back to the story of Jacob and Esau, Isaac and Rebekah warned Esau, said, do not go down there and mess with them Canaanite women, get into those, because of what? They worshipped other gods. All right, and that's what we're going into here. All right. Same thing, but what did he do? He got an Ishmaelite. All right. First, all right. Let's
In the Bible, she's called Ashtoreth. In Mesopotamia, she's called Ishtar. When she went into the Greek land, she was called Aphrodite, and then Venus. She is all over. And she's mentioned specifically there. Now, in the Canaanite mythology, she's actually the wife of Baal. So Baal has a wife, okay? And so when Baal comes, the next one to come, it says in the Bible, says Baal, then it says Ashtoreth. Then she's coming in. So what this means is once the door is open, she is the goddess of sexuality, of sexual immorality. She's the goddess, she's actually called a prostitute. She's the goddess who her temples were filled with sexuality. It was made it public. So if she returns, what would happen? If she comes back, it means that America is going to undergo a sexual revolution. That is the sign of the possession of Ishtar, or this goddess.
Let's look at another one. Let's see if I can find it.
You say the gods are even influencing the rulings of the Supreme Court, and they've determined the exact timing of those rulings?
Yeah, since these things happened, there's been 3 landmark cases that have to do with gender and, all these things, same-sex and marriage. The first one was in 2003, had to do with legalizing. It happened in the ancient month of Tammuz. That's the lover of Ishtar. The next one happened in 2013, struck down the Defense of Marriage Act. That happened same month, same exact day, month of the goddess, time of the summer solstice, all these pagan things. The last one, which struck down marriage, we all remember that. That happened.
What he's also telling you, if you're paying attention, these elites, they're into these unholy days. These, on the left-hand side, they're holy, to them. But that's what he's getting at. You remember, he's just telling you that these things are passed on a specific date, all right? And that's what Great Millstone has been telling you. You have to watch these certain days. Certain things are passed. These high unholy days, all right, as I call them, all right? That's when they do these things, because what? They sacrifice.
Month of the goddess, days of the goddess, same time, same date, June 26th. That night, all over America, rainbows appear. And one of them appears on the White House. Remember that? On the ancient calendar, I looked this up in the Bible, was the night that is appointed, the 10th of Tammuz, appointed to cast a spell to cause a man to love a man on that day.
You say the gods are even...
See? So all this is not just random as some of you might think. No. They know what they're doing. But as we get into Isaiah 47, once I get through with this, I'll go into these things aren't working like they used to.
His name actually means the possessor.
In the Bible, it says Baal.
Baal means the possessor. Yeah, you know him as Baal. Baal, he is the possessor. So the first thing, his job, what he did with ancient Israel, is he caused them to forget their God. And he caused them to start driving God out. The spirit of Baal in America, in the West, has been driving God out. So he said the schools we have from culture. Literally, the Bible says he caused them to turn away from the commandments. Literally in America, we have actually cast down the 10 commandments. Same thing. So what we are watching, it's the repaganization of America. His job or his mission of this prison is to take a Christian nation or Judeo-Christian nation and turn it into a pagan nation. And that is exactly what has been happening. In fact, there's one thing, Baal actually, I won't go into it, actually manifested in New York City, the sign of Baal massively. We won't go into it. But the thing is that he is the first spirit. And so he's the one who says, now the other gods are going to come in through that. And that's what
you have to understand. The real aim is the children of Israel. All right. All right, this is who they're trying to get to go off, all right, and to lose themselves. Let's see if I remember the order here.
But here's the warning. If the house, or if our culture, if America, if it ever turns away from God, then the doors are going to be open for the spirits to return, to repossess the culture. That the door will be open for
that's already been and happened.
The spirits are behind them to come back and to repossess our culture. And so when you look at what's happening, the craziness of what's been happening in the last 50 years in America, it's because the gods have come back.
See, I don't know his, no, it's nothing, this place has never been righteous, which is what, by the way he speaks. No, hell no. It was nothing, it's always been bitter for us, the Israelites. So, you know, see, again, this is coming from a perspective that leaves us totally out of it. All right. Let's see what else here. I'm trying to remember the order that I had it in.
His name actually means the possessor.
No, I already played that. Let's see, what's this?
Sex comes. What she did, what a prostitute is she actually damages marriage. She actually weakens marriage. That's what happens. Brings sexuality into the culture. In ancient times in Israel, in the Middle East, she put her images of naked people all over the culture. So not only she was in her Greek form, she gave birth to a child named Eros. We get the word erotica. So erotica starts flooding America. The word for prostitute, which is what she was, in her Greek incarnation, is the word porne.
Question. Who was in, I'm going to phrase this, who was behind the majority when it came to the smut industry? What group of people? Think about that.
Get the word porn from it. So there's an explosion of pornography all over the culture. So what Baal does, in one sense, she's repaganized, she's overturning biblical standards of sexuality and marriage, and she is paganizing our culture through sexuality and through possessing it. And she's also the goddess of spells and witchcraft. So she casts her spell on America, and we are still in it to this day.
Where it say cast that spell, let's go there. I was going to try to save it, but let's go there real quick. Gots to go. This is Isaiah 47. What does it say? The humiliation of Babylon. Let's start at the top. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right. And that goes to what appears from that, where he's coming from, like this place was all pure and, you know, again, someone who's swallowed down that propaganda, or at least that's what he wants us to think. All right, these people aren't as stupid as you might think. Trust me on that. All right, they still got this, you know, save America, this wicked. I'm gonna skip down. Hey, let's go to 6, I was wroth when I told you, yea, because to us, this place has always been better, right? 6, and this is the Most High that gave us into their hands as punishment, all right? I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst shew them no mercy, and they didn't, and still don't. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke, and thou saidest, thou shalt be a lady forever. That pride. You can just see it in these Edomites when you're walking up and down the street. They looking at you like, what are you doing on my planet? Okay, no problem. And thou saidest, thou shalt be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. All right, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. That pride. Because you got to remember, he also has a God complex. All right? And this is what ultimately he wants. Ultimate control. All right? That's why this digital, how am I going to phrase it? This digital dollar, this currency, this whole another monetary system that he's trying to set up is going to give him God-like control. That coupled with his surveillance, his nanotech, all that. All right. Anyway, verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment and one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. That's an Edomite. That's a so-called white man. You look at the characteristics, everything I just read off, it can't be anybody else. All right, let's see what else we got here, if I can remember again, the order.
She had a priesthood. Her priests, listen to this, in her temples, were men who dressed up as women. And they acted as women, dressed up. So what's going to happen if she comes back? What's going to happen is, as she possesses a culture, is that men will start dressing. We'll start seeing that in our culture, which we do. These are her ancient priesthood. Also, they were involved in same-sex sexuality. We see that explosion as well. Also, it says, remember, she says she turns men into women, transitions them, and women into men.
What we kept what we always keep telling you, there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. All right. Now, they weren't dealing with it. You know, you look at the surgical techniques and everything that we have today, but they still practiced it in some form. All right, let's go to, let's get two scriptures real high off the bat. Let's get Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. No new thing under the sun. All right? This is not meant in general sense, but there is no new source of happiness. The subject in question, which can be devised, the same round of petty pleasures, cares, business, study, wars, etc., being repeated over and over again. Now, what he was talking about were the men dressing up like women. This is why this is said. Let's go to Deuteronomy 23 and 17. It says, because this verse here deals with what? Temple prostitutes and stuff, right? Whether it be male or female. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Get a load of that. Get a load of that. Let's finish this out.
turns men into women, transitions them, and women into men. Her priest, many of her priests were actually surgically altered. She caused them to be surgically altered.
I never knew that.
Yes.
I thought that was just something of our generation.
Well, we do it more sophisticated, but she especially, all the gods, but they go after the children. Because if you have the children, you have the future. And so that happened in ancient times, happening now. And so you think, what would possess an adult to do this to children? Well, what would possess it? The spirit. This is what...
There you go. Like I said, this is happening right in front of people's face. A lot of people see it, but you have to wonder. This so-called red wave they were talking about. Now, I didn't want to get into it. That's a whole nother video. But you got to wonder, was the level of fraud this much, or was people just still sleep? Or you got to think, is Trump, how am I going to phrase this? Is Trump in on the game? By that I mean, surely someone that abrasive and appears to be so stupid that he does something like with the documents, maybe this whole thing was set up to where he's pissed off so many people. You know, that January 6th thing, we know that that was BS. Could this all been could he been in on it from the beginning? That's another thing. Now he's turned so many people off, what should have been clearly this guy in office now. People were so upset. People have lost their jobs and just about everything else the last 2.5 years. And you mean they can't take the Senate? They barely took the House back. Something's not right. Something just, the game's afoot. Anyway, so hopefully anyone who has watched this is edified. All right. Because let me tell you, you're not going to get anything worth anything out of your local news. I'll tell you that now. And a lot of you already recognize that. Whatever you think of TikTok, I was never a major, a fan of it. But hey, a lot of information has come from that, that certain people can't shut down because it's not theirs. Now they're trying to get it to where, actually they're just trying to do that. They're trying to get it shut down. But there's a lot of stupid shit on there, but there's things that you can see there that you can't see on YouTube for various and obvious reasons. All right. So just something to think about. Hey, so with that, until the next video, hey, Shalom.